Welcome to the Stream Blades fans. My voice is going already, and that's just me shouting at my TV. Yeah, one of those nights, weren't it, where everything that possibly could have gone wrong pretty much went wrong. I thought after that first 45 minutes that there was a possibility that we could just about hold on for a point and finish the game 0-0. But it wasn't to be. Burnley are obviously a very, very good team. They found a way to open us up. And to be honest, no. I'm not going to say that because everything that happened tonight was our fault. So let's start with the red card. Do you know what? I've written loads of stuff down tonight to talk about. Like I always do it every single week. I write down points that happen specific minutes, and I'm just gonna freeball it tonight, to be honest, because I don't think you all want me to talk through everything that happened in this match because not a lot happened for the Blades, to be honest. Um, an L in the first minute, overhead kick over the bar. We started pretty brightly, to be perfectly honest. I thought we started like we were well up for it, and we were winning balls that were kind of just loose, constantly coming out on top in the midfield with Doyle and Norwood. We'll get on to speaking about Norwood in a little bit because, yeah, I'm a big Norwood fan, but tonight and a few games this season, he's not been at it, and yeah, tonight wasn't a good one. But yeah, early on, Sander was up for it as well. Sander was getting stuck in. Sander was winning balls and looking really handy on the ball. Doyle, like I said just a few minutes ago, Doyle I thought was really, really good early on. Really dominant in the midfield, and they've got a really dominant midfield as well. That's why they've done so well, as well as all the incredible players that they've got going forward. But they've got a really sturdy middle of the midfield, if you like. And I thought in the first 15 minutes before the craziness started, we were mostly on top. I think that they had quite a few balls over the top that they they caught us a few times, but they were offside every single time. So yeah, there was always going to be one of those that wasn't onside, wasn't offside, and they got through. But first 15 minutes, I don't think they really caused us any problems, and we certainly were up and at them from minute one. But yeah, let's talk about it now. The 16th minute, Wes Foderingham gets sent off for the second time this season. The first one that he got sent off against Blackpool wasn't even in the game, which was very, very silly. Got a 3-match ban for it, and we had to endure Adam Davis for 3 games. He did some good stuff in that time as well, but also did some bad stuff. Same with this game, to be honest. But we'll get there a bit later on. The ball comes over. There's absolutely no worries whatsoever, other than the ball's going over Jackie Longthrow's head. But he's been fantastic in recent weeks for a very, very long time. Not any errors for, I would say, a good 10 games, possibly. But the ball's coming over. It's one of them where you're like, he's just going to launch it into the stand. So he lets it bounce and lets it bounce and lets it bounce. And then Wes thinks it's a great idea to come out and offer some support, whether he was just there to offer him some words of encouragement, because he certainly didn't go for the ball. But it was just a massive calamity between them both. And I said on Twitter, 70% of the blame has to go to Robinson, because that ball should have been in that stand well before Wes started his rampage. But Wes really put him in a bit of a weird spot. But again, like if that's Egan or if that's Basham or Anel or anyone like or George, that ball's in that stand, whether the keeper's there or not. Like if that ball's in that stand, they can't score a goal. So whether Wes comes out or not, one of them puts that in the stand. But Jackie Longthrow got confused, kind of left it to Wes, and I believe it was Tell that nicked in and nicked it past Wes, and I'm going to say has to bring him down. I think in hindsight, if Wes took himself out of that moment, he probably could have let him score, don't get sent off, and then, yeah, Burnley are 1-0 up, but we've still got 11 men on the pitch, and Wes isn't out for 1/2 games, but we'll get onto that in a little bit as well, because I think a lot of people online are asking about Wes's red card and what that means. Is he going to miss the Man City game? I think right now, I'm going to say something then. I don't care about the Man City game. I care about getting promoted. So I'd rather Wes not be fit, not be available for the Man City game if it means we get him for the league, because I'm really really worried about our goalkeeping position without Wes in the goal. Yes, he made a silly. Um, it was a terrible idea to come out and not deal with it. But no, it's not good that he's got a red card. I will talk about it now, Matt, as well. It is a one match ban for a red card that's not violent conduct. But unless somebody tells me otherwise, I believe that when you get a second red card of the season, that adds another game onto it. So I'm pretty sure Wes will be out for the next two, which will be Cardiff City and Bristol City, both at home, which both we should be trying to get 3 points from those games, or 6 points collectively. But you don't want to see it. You don't want to see your number one goalkeeper getting sent off and having to watch from the stands when we've put ourselves in such a good position up to this point. Just to throw it away by doing something silly like that is just ludicrous, really, to be honest. But I will say one thing: Robbo got a bit of a push in the back just before it looked like he was thinking about clearing it. So if he didn't get that push in the back from Teller, maybe he would have put it in the stands. But I think that little push in the back made him not be able to clear it, and then that's what put thoughts in his mind of what's Wes doing here? Why is Wes in front of me? I must leave it to Wes. But whatever happened, one of them or both of them should have stuck their foot through that ball and got it into the stands, because we might as well. This is the big talking point of the game, because if this doesn't happen, yeah, Burnley might still have won. Don't get me wrong, but I still feel like if we are 11 against 11, we could have won that game, or at least got a point out of that game, because of the way that we started. We were well up for it. We were bang up for it, getting stuck in. Um, Again, like I've said from minute one, I thought we were really, really good before that point, and then that just put us on the back foot. And actually, from that point onwards until the 60th minute when they broke through, I thought we were really, really good defensively. I think we were sound. I thought Egan and Nell and George particularly were fantastic at the back. Jaden Bogle, we need to talk about him as well as Norwood. I thought those two were bad tonight. I thought they were really, really bad tonight. But we'll jump ahead to the goal. Like I said, I don't want to be talking about this Burnley chance and that Burnley chance, because we didn't really have many chances in this game. Not until kind of right at the end. There was one from Illy where he nearly nicked the ball off the goalkeeper, but that was after the goal. So let's quickly talk about the goal. So it was an absolutely fantastic ball into the box. However, Jaden Bogle did not deal with it, and the ball comes across him. He's got to get something on that, whether he puts it out for a corner, whether he hooks it away for a throw in. He's got to get something on the ball, because Teller knocks it back to Goodmanson, and he's stood all on his own. He shouldn't be stood on his own. Let's be honest. Nobody's marking him. We've got loads of men that are kind of like on the line. Burgers should be closer to him. It's probably Burgers' man. I've not looked back because I don't want to put myself through that again. But he stood on his own. Burgers the closest man to him. But this has got to be cleared by Bogle. It just has. It's a great ball in. It's a pacey ball in that it looked like Bogle didn't want to touch, because he's thinking, I don't want to put this in my own net. But you've just got to deal with it. He's a defender at the end of the day. I know that he's more of an attacking defender than defensive defender. That sounds so silly to say. But he should be dealing with that. And that's how this happens. But like I said, until that point, I thought we were fantastic defensively. I don't think they really had a good opportunity other than a Harwood Bellis gilt edge header. You've got to say it was unmarked. He completely misses the ball, but that should have been a header bang into the back of the net. At half time, they brought on Benson. And then they had Benson one side, Teller the other side. We'd obviously gone to four at the back after the red card. I thought that was the right decision, I must admit, because he didn't want to bring McBurney off because of the set pieces, obviously, and he thought that if we get corners and free kicks, that McBurney's the best guy to have in the box to try and score a goal as well. Obviously, Illiman never comes off because Illiman is the best player that we've got. The best chance of we got of getting anything out of that game obviously came off when he had to, but yeah, he can't take either of those two off, in my opinion. I thought he could have possibly brought Norwood off and left two in the midfield, just running around like headless chickens and having five at the back. But also, I was also thinking, like, this just shows how hard it is to be a football manager. The amount of ideas that I had when I saw the red card. I was thinking Robinson could go to left back and then we could bring Bogle off because he's not as good defensively, which showed. Um, but Hecky made that decision. It could have been an absolutely fantastic decision because we defended really, really well until that 60th minute. But let's just talk about the 65th, where Illiman nearly profited off a really poor back pass to the goalkeeper. I honestly thought that Illy was going to get onto that and take it around the goalkeeper and score. And maybe he should have done. Maybe he should have done because he had a little bit of time to think about that, but the goalkeeper flies in with actually a great challenge that the commentators were saying how excellent it was, and that centre backs and right backs and left backs would have been proud of those challenge that sort of challenge, and it was a really great challenge on Illy because let's be honest, if that's not a great challenge on Illy, he's bringing him down because Illyman is so skillful. So yeah, it was a perfect challenge from the goalkeeper, but really that was the only time where I thought we could be back in this game because we were nowhere near it. I know that you've got to make sure you don't get hammered because that obviously kills confidence. Um, but yeah, on the 70th minute, 10 minutes after the first goal, a long cross comes in and Davis has an absolute nightmare. And we've all seen it. We all know how bad it was. The ball gets whipped into the box. It is a very deep cross, but Davis comes for it and he is, I'm going to say nowhere near it. He is actually quite near it. He thinks he's nowhere near it. So he pulls his arm away. But in those situations, when a ball is in the box like that and the goalkeeper's gone for it, you can't bottle it and bottle out of it. It was almost like a Ramsdale thing what he was doing in that Premier League season, the second one, but the first half of the season, where like he was like flapping and he went for that ball and then he just like, nope, can't get there, let's stop. And then obviously Teller knocks the ball across the box. It gets somewhat headed out, but straight to Goodmanson to absolutely smash it into the corner. It's a great finish, but that's the only place that he could have put it to score. And obviously he does that and they go 2-0 up and that's game over. I thought it was pretty much game over at 1-0, but there's always that hints that we could get a set piece. We could have Illiman taking 12 men on and scoring a goal, including the referee. But it wasn't to be. I think the referee was quite kind on us at times. I think, especially towards the end, he wasn't giving many fouls to them and he was giving a lot to us. I think he was just feeling a bit sorry for us, to be fair. But I will just quickly run through some of the players. Like I said earlier, I thought the central defenders, Egan and Anel, were fantastic most of the game. I don't remember him making any errors, really. I think there were a lot of last ditch kind of clearances and things like that. And they were just really sturdy. I thought George did himself really a lot of justice at left back / left wing back. Yeah, he didn't offer much going forward, but none of them really offered much going forward today. Sander comes out of it unscathed for me because I think that he actually put it in. And yeah, he didn't do much going forward, which that's what we want from Sander. But he got stuck in. He didn't do his hairy fairy sort of hanging around players and not putting a tackle in. He actually put quite a few tackles in. He was barging players out of the way at times, but they just passed through us all the time. And they weren't much we could do. We just had pretty much 9 men behind the ball at most times. and I think we were just hoping to hold on to that 0-0, but it wasn't to be. We did have a couple of chances right towards the end, but yeah, nothing came of it. Basham with a lovely volley across the box that Billy was coming in at the back post, but defended really, really well. Burnley obviously got their revenge on us, but to be fair, I still think that us absolutely smashing him when it was 11 against 11 at Bramall Lane was a little bit better than them just about getting over the line against 10 men, but it is what it is. Yeah, other players, Norwood, like I said earlier, Norwood was really poor for me tonight. Lots of silly challenges. He could have given away a penalty at one point when he flew through one of their players. Yes, he got the ball, but he followed through and caught, I think it was Foster on the knee. And eventually he went off. I don't know if it was because of that, but because he certainly carried on for a bit after that. But it was a really silly challenge. And the reason why he did it was because he played a really loose pass and they nearly got in. And it was just a frustration tackle, um, as I'd like to put it. But it was a really silly thing to do. Yes, he was always going to win that ball because he'd taken a really poor touch, Foster. He was always going to win it, but he followed through. And in the Premier League, when we've got VAR and stuff like that, if we do get to the Premier League, you can't do things like that. He could have been sent off for that in the Premier League, how football is these days. In my opinion, that's never a red card. But I grew up in a time where people put in some really, really strong challenges and it were never even a yellow. Yes, he's followed through, but that's just the way that the football is at the moment. If you follow through and you catch someone and it's really dangerous, you could be sent off, and he could have been sent off. So really, really silly thing to do, especially when we were down to, I think we were down to 10 men at that point. I can't really remember. But there were a few other silly challenges that he did. I thought he should have come off at half time, given somebody else. I actually thought Bash should have gone into the midfield to try and shore it up a little bit. Bash was going to put 100% effort in every single time he puts that red and white shirt on. He gets stuck in. He'd make himself busy. Bit of a Monty role, if you like. Obviously, he's another big lad to put into the midfield to win the headers. Obviously, if we managed to get something like a corner or a free kick, he could have been in there. Could have brought Fleck on, could have brought anyone on, but I just thought that Norwood needed to come off because I think he's put a lot of pressure on himself recently because I think a lot of fans have given him a lot of stick. Some due, some undue, in my opinion. I think he's still been one of our best players this season. I think he maybe had a couple of ropey games before Hecky brought in Doyle to kind of replace him in that quarterback role, if you like. And I think he's put a lot of pressure on himself to come back and play really well because he wants his place back. And I think he's almost trying too hard. And I think that tackle really, really cemented the fact that he's just not really Ollie Norwood right now, to be honest. I still think he's got a big part to play in the rest of the season. But tonight, definitely wasn't his game. It really wasn't. Jaden Bogle as well. I think I'm going to pretty much finish on Jaden Bogle. I thought he was okay defensively, but he just did not seem up for it in the slightest. Really bad going forward. At one point, we got away in that second half. I think it was either 1-0 or 0-0. I can't remember. But he got away on that right hand side. Loads and loads of space. Ollie McBurney asked for it at the back stick, put his hand up saying, "Find me." He didn't need to do that, but he crossed the ball from way out and it went sailing over the bar. It's just really, really poor decision making, in my opinion, and that was a big mistake because that was one of our only chances of that second half. And obviously, the first goal, in my opinion, he was at fault for not cutting the ball out, and that's what he should have done. He really should have. There's not really much to say about the rest of the players. Ollie, McBurney, and Illiman didn't really have much to feed off because we were constantly overrun with them having another man. Davis, I thought, made a couple of good saves, but it just shows that really, really poor bit where he's come out and he's nowhere. Well, he thinks he's nowhere near it, and he's just left it, and he's in no man's land, absolute no man's land. So Yeah, not good. Not good, especially when we're gonna have to play him in the next 2 games. Now, let's get into the comments because I don't really wanna be talking forever. I'm not really that bothered about talking about this one because I think we just gotta go again, haven't we? And by the way, guys, I'm really sorry. We've got way over 100, um, 100 comments, so I can't go through them all. I'm just gonna have to try and pick a few. Where are we? Wes is third in clean sheets. Right, I'm gonna really struggle here because I think there's a lot of people going back and forth, back and forth. Um, Poor defending from Bogle. Jack is backing me up on that one. After Noah gave the ball away in the 4th minute, I knew it was going to be downhill from there. Meth then backing me up about that. Um, they're promoted for a reason. Obviously, they did a really, really good job of opening us up. I do still think, hold on to the fact that a lot of them were our mistakes. All of them were our mistakes, but they forced the issue, if you like. I hate using that term, but they just did. Um, Burnley have changed since you beat us. So from a Burnley fan to say that, but thanks for beating us the first time. Fair enough. Fair enough. I think us beating you probably spurred you on to the fantastic performances that you've put in over the last, I don't know how long. Awful Bogle, Norwood, League One West, terrible Burger. Terrible Burger. Okay. Okay. Fair enough. We all see players differently. But Bulldog only positives. Oh, sorry, Berger and Bulldog only positives. I think that's what David meant. Um, not having that. They were better than us until the stupidity. We were the better team. Could see what the game plan was until Wes capitulated. Yeah, absolutely. Chris is agreeing with me on that one. I honestly thought that we were. I wouldn't. I'm not saying we were the better side, but I thought we were certainly well in the game. May have just edged it. May have just edged it, but it's only the first 15 minutes. There's a lot of football to be played after that as well. When Robbo has a mistake, he makes it count. Agree. Wes shares plenty of the blame. Absolutely, Simon. Totally agree. Um, yeah, I think there's a lot of arguments going on in the comments. Davis scares me, hoping we dominate the ball and put the game out of sight. Absolutely. We need to. We need to bounce back from this big time. Yeah. Danny confirming if you didn't hear what I said earlier on, Wes is banned for 2 games, um, one for the red card because it's not violent conduct, and then another one because he's already had a red card this season. So 2 red cards for a goalkeeper in one term is not good, not good at all. Um, Again, Bogle and Norwood were terrible tonight. I'm glad it wasn't just me that was seeing that. Um, Gaza agreeing it should have been booted into row Z. I think we're all kind of talking about the same thing. Um, Burnley weren't at their best. Yeah, but we were playing with 10 men. Let's be honest. We were playing with 10 men. So, yeah, I think 11 against 11, I think that we'd have come away with something from this game, whether it's a point or 3. Uh, Nick, aggregate 5-4 blades. Think of that. What you nice, nice. I like that. I like that, Johnny, especially as Johnny's a Burnley fan as well. A lot of people say Norwood was shocking tonight. Hi, Nick. Sorry that Sheffield United lose. I am in. Oh, you're a Norwich supporter. Fair enough. Fair enough. No problem. Um, Bogle put the first. Should have put the first cross out. Davis should have put the second cross out. End of. Absolutely what I said. I don't think there's much else. Kieran normally puts in a good comment. Our game in hand now is more important not to lose. I know that Kieran always puts in some really, really good comments. So there we go. Evening, Nick. Burnley fan here. Shame about the red card. Game over then. Absolutely, Glyn. Absolutely, mate. It was a bit of a shame because that incredible National League top of the table clash between Wrexham and Notts County was fantastic today. And do you know what? Those first 15 minutes had the making for a really blood and thunder game. But obviously, our stupidity just robbed us of a chance of seeing a really, really top notch championship, top of the table clash. But yeah, it was one of those things. It's really, really frustrating. Jack Robinson probably hasn't made a terrible mistake like that since Burnley, possibly at home. I don't know. I might be wrong. Let us know in the comments if I am. But yeah, I'm going to chalk it down to some terrible mistakes, some crazy, crazy defending, and just the fact that Burnley were good enough to unlock the door. I think there's a lot of teams in this division that wouldn't have scored against us tonight because I think we've defended really, really well. Yeah, let's move on to the next game. We've got Cardiff City. We've got Bristol City before the Man City game as well. Lots of cities coming up. So hopefully, if we beat Cardiff City and Bristol City, I don't care about beating Man City. I don't think we are anyway, but I don't care about the cup. Let's just get promoted, guys. Let's just chalk it down, like I say, to one of those days when we just, yeah, it weren't one of those days that we were going to win because of silly, silly things that we did. Anyway, apologies if I've missed anyone's comments. I'm sure I have because we've had so many. I really appreciate every single comment, and I hope a lot of the comments people seem to have a little look at, have a little bit of a discussion because I've not been able to read them all, or would probably here until tomorrow morning. So thank you very much for watching, guys. Really appreciate everyone being here after a defeat as well. We haven't seen too many of them as of late. So hopefully that's the last one we see for a while. Thanks a lot, guys. See you next time.